In this video, I'm going to show you how to creatively finish our new Christmas stitch along, Stitch into Christmas, with Advent Calendar pockets. Hi, my name is Marie and this is the Caterpillar Cross Stitch channel. If you're new here, welcome. This channel is all about cross stitching and tutorials, so make sure to hit like and subscribe to never miss a new tutorial from us again. Remember to also subscribe to our Instagram and Facebook for even more stitchy inspiration. This video is going to be all about creative finish for our Christmas stitch along. In our Facebook group, you have asked us to show you how to finish the Advent calendar with pockets, and we have delivered. I will show you a step-by-step how I achieved the pocket in the Christmas stitch along. Let me just quickly show you that this is how the pocket looks like, and I will tell you exactly what to do and what to avoid. At the end of the video, I will also suggest a couple more creative finishes for this Christmas stitch along. Let's get finishing. The first part of Christmas stitch along is out, so let's see how to finish it with pockets so you can plan ahead if you choose to finish it this way. You will need a finished cross stitch to attach the pocket to, and also a separately finished ornament of the part you will be finishing into a pocket. We are going to cut out a shape of a pocket out of the separately stitched piece. We need to keep in mind that the ornaments on the pattern are really close to one another, so there isn't much space in between, only 2 stitches on each side. I will be keeping it quite tiny and compact because of this. Although the ornament is curved at the top, I will be stitching the pocket in a rectangular shape. I have decided to cut the fabric with 3 stitches worth of fabric on the sides and the bottom, so 3 holes of Aida or 6 holes of even weave. I am keeping a little more space on the top of the pocket so that the top flap is a bit more solid. I am leaving 12 holes of even weave or 6 holes of Aida. Spoiler alert, in hindsight I would have cut the sides with 1 or 2 stitches extra to give myself a wider border to work with. Once cut, we now need to very urgently and very carefully take care of the fraying edges. Don't handle the fabric too much or else it will start fraying immediately, especially if you're stitching on even weave. I have picked a dark blue sewing thread from my sewing box and I am stitching a blanket stitch all around the edges. Blanket stitch creates a loop on the top and therefore completely secures the fabric threads from fraying. Do this very carefully to make sure you don't apply too much pressure, which would pull the fabric threads out. Just a gentle tug at the end of each stitch will do. Now that our ornament is protected from fraying, let's make the pocket. We will have to turn the edges really close to the stitching so that it doesn't take too much space on the pattern and it doesn't clash with pockets next to it. Instead of sewing, I have decided to use my trusted Wonder Web. It's an iron-on hem tape I got from Amazon. I am cutting a small piece of the tape to match the width of the pocket piece, and then I'm cutting the tape into a tiny strip that will just cover the hem. I don't measure this with a tape or a ruler, I just adjust it according to the width of the hem. Fold it, iron it, and voila, it's attached. I'm not friends with a sewing machine yet, so this is my favorite kind of sewing. I also try to minimize any extra stitching visible from the front, and the iron-on tape is simply perfect for this. The top flap is a bit wider, so I took a wider piece of the iron-on tape, again just cut with scissors to the width needed, and before I iron it, I'm making sure that I don't exceed the 1 extra stitch worth of fabric on the top from the front, so that my pocket isn't touching an ornament above it once I've attached it to the finished design. Do the remaining 2 sides in the same way and make sure to attach the corners properly. There's now a little bit of a fabric buildup, so it's important to attach them with the tape in a way that won't make them visible from the front. If you see any threads, cut them off so they're not visible either. And that's it, your pocket is ready, so now let's attach it to the main design. I would recommend to put your stitching in a hoop or a Q-snap and also in a stand, so ideally both of your hands are free. Now I'm looping a dark blue sewing thread in the bottom right corner and then pushing the needle through at the same spot on the pocket. There's a lot of fabric buildup there, so it's important you are using a sewing needle with a sharp point instead of the usual blunt tip needle used for cross stitching. I am literally just doing a running stitch, so a small stitch on the inner side of the stitched border. I have placed a running stitch every 3 or 4 stitches. I would recommend to use a thread of a similar color to the fabric. My sewing thread isn't very visible on the dark blue fabric at all. You can of course use either sewing thread or DMC. I'm using 2 strands of sewing thread, which is a bit thinner. So if you were to use DMC, I would recommend using perhaps just 1 strand so that it's not very visible. When I reached the top, I have finished the thread as I normally would during cross stitching, so in this case running it behind existing stitches. Make sure you don't stitch the top of the pocket. I almost did. That would make it hard to place anything inside, wouldn't it? I have finished attaching the pocket on the side in exactly the same way. It is very helpful to use the existing stitching on the bottom piece of fabric as a guide to make sure the pocket is attached nice and straight instead of skew. And that is it. The pocket is not very large, but it will fit a small sweet or a treasure hunt clue perhaps. It even perfectly fits our Robin needle minder, so you could have an advent calendar full of small stitchy goodies too. So I hope you enjoyed our little tutorial on how to create advent calendar with pockets from our current Christmas stitch along. Only a couple of points from me. Upon reflection, I would have cut the border on the ornament a little bit bigger to give myself a little bit more space to work with. I would also wait with attaching the pockets until the whole stitch along has been released and until I've stitched everything that I want to stitch, so that I can then work with the space that I've got directly on the fabric and I don't have to sort of calculate where will my next stitching be and which part of the fabric do I need to avoid when attaching the pocket. I would also not stitch the whole motif in the window directly on the fabric. I would only stitch it on the outer pocket. I would, however, continue stitching the outer frames of the little windows so that it serves as a guide for me where exactly to attach the pocket. The pockets are really small, so they would be suitable for something really tiny. As you could see in the video, it can fit actually the robin needleminder. It can fit a small sweet, or if it was for your children, it could contain a note on where to find today's sweet reward. I am very interested to hear whether you are going to be giving the pockets a go, whether you would choose a little different way to go about it, anything that you would suggest. I'm sure we would be very keen to know. There is a good discussion about the various finishes on Facebook, in our Facebook group, Caterpillar Stitch Alongs. So I would invite you to join if you haven't yet already, and join the discussion and show your progress and show your creative finish ideas, and share it with all other stitchers who are actually stitching the Christmas stitch along. In the beginning, I said I would briefly mention other creative ways of finishing the Christmas stitch along, and let me start with a suggestion of our wonderful stitcher Emily. Hi Emily. Now Emily suggested that you use your favorite Caterpillar cross stitch needle minder and just stand with it on the day. So on the 4th of December, you would put your favorite needle minder on the robin. My personal favorite needle minder is the robin. And then on the 12th, on the 15th, you would just move it across, and you would put your little robin or snowman or Christmas tree on the day that it falls onto. Another possible creative finish could be that you don't sew the little ornament stitched extra as a pocket. You could also sort of flat finish it or ornament finish it and just maybe hang it. As we progress through December, you could just hang your little extra ornaments on there. Alternatively, you could also stitch it on plastic canvas, cut around it, and then sort of hang it on your finished piece. However, I wanted to stress that there is no need to pressurize yourself into making, incredible creative finish with this advent calendar. In my opinion, it looks lovely just stitched, so you can just stitch it and use maybe some flat finish, or hang it in poster hangers, and just hang it on the 1st of December and enjoy it for the 24 days or 25 days until Christmas and throughout the Christmas period. It looks absolutely lovely, and just be proud of your stitching. Enjoy your stitching. I have to admit that this is a lot of extra work, so make sure that if you want to do this, that you are prepared for the extra work this will take, and it will not take away the joy of stitching from the project. As always, we are here to answer any of your questions you might have. Please pop them in the comments below. If you'd like to join me and thousands of other stitchers in stitching the Christmas stitch along, Stitch into Christmas, please head over to our website www.caterpillarcrossstitch.com. You can get yours there as a full kit or just as a PDF. And just a reminder, if you choose to stitch these pockets, you are going to need extra fabric, and you can get an extra piece of fabric for these pockets also on our website under the same Stitch into Christmas listing. If you haven't yet, I would highly recommend to sign up to our newsletter, aka VIP Stitch Club, in the description below. In return, you will get 10% discount in our shop and also a PDF with 8 free patterns. And that is it from us at Caterpillar Cross Stitch today. Thank you so much for watching and creating with us, and see you next week.